Hello and welcome to my November 2018 Blu-ray update, in which I only have, I think, 5 titles to show, which is a symbol and a sign of my decreasing quantity of... I don't know where my brain was going on that one. And I'll leave it in for free because it's not going to be much of me rambling and babbling on about these films anyway because there aren't that many of them. But before we do get to the Blu-rays, I once again have a book, a movie-related book, and I was quite surprised to see this in the local charity shop. And it is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Inside the Magic, the Making of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So I really like this film, love this film in fact. And so I was more than happy to grab a book about the making of the movie for £3. So we've got all sorts of stuff about the costumes and the special effects. The kind of concept art is really cool, and even the production design, just getting closer look at details in, you know, the rooms that people live in and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, so I really wanted to embrace this, I thought, very cheap deal on a fairly recent movie-related book, and have a look at some of the behind-the-scenes images and you know, just some gorgeous kind of concept art and things like that. So, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Inside the Magic of the Making of, pretty good stuff. Now on to the Blu-rays, and this is a boutique label heavy update. Four of the 5 are from boutique labels. The first one we'll kick things off with is a major studio. And this continues to add to my Marvel Cinematic Universe Steelbook collection. We have Avengers Infinity War. And this is a gorgeous Steelbook. I actually thought it looked okay when it was first announced. Once again, I got this from, I think, Amazon Italy. One of the European ones. I always forget which, because I always go to like Italy, France, Spain, Germany, and see where the best price is, because it's always the same artwork as it is on Zavvi, and I feel like I've said that so many times now that I'm really repeating myself. But what I wasn't expecting with this was for the Steelbook to be first capped off with a debossed border around the edges, but also for, you can see, the stones in Thanos' gauntlet are debossed, which adds a really cool effect to it. But also, I believe the background is matte. No, the background is gloss, and Thanos and his Infinity Gauntlet are matte. So it's a really, really nice effect. Oh, there you go. You can really kind of see it there. That's kind of cool. So yeah, I loved this film, and really needed to get it on Blu-ray in general. And I was happy to grab the Steelbook and keep up to date with my collection. I think the only one I need now is the Ant-Man and the Wasp Steelbook, and I will have the first 20 films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in Steelbook form. So there we go. It does have the 3D Blu-ray, which again I could chuck out the window, really. Don't really need it. And I'm looking forward to seeing this with the audio commentary, but when I'll get to that, I really don't know. So, on with the boutique label stuff. Now this one I should have bought a lot sooner than I did. This was a film that I've really wanted to see for a long time. It's from a director that I really, really like. In fact, I would say he's my favorite director of all time, who I've only ever seen one movie from. And it's written by one of my favorite directors, and it stars one of my favorite actors. So it's just a no-brainer that I would pick this up and see this film for myself. But I never got around to it. And it is from the Indicator label. And they recently did a... What was it? I was gonna say Flash Monday then. No, they did a flash sale for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And they said, oh, by the way, with this kind of flash sale, we've now sold out of this particular film. It is now out of print. We have no more of them. Get them while you can. So it jumped up in price on Amazon to £20, which is more than I wanted to pay for it. But I didn't want to wait around for it and not be able to get it for anything, you know, less than the inflated prices, basically. So I picked up Eyes of Laura Maas. And there's a lot of glare on that, so let's open this up actually and just get a proper look at the really nice artwork. I'll try and open it away from the microphone so there's not a lot of crinkling and audio disturbances, but yes, directed by Irving Kershner, who of course directed The Empire Strikes Back, my favourite film of all time. This was a couple of years before he did The Empire Strikes Back. So I'm just kind of intrigued to see what else he can do outside of the realm of The Empire Strikes Back, and this thing is just refusing to open. It's one of those things where I'm like, okay, I'll do this on the fly, no edits, no cuts, you know, and it's just like, nope, not going to happen. You're just going to have to cut the video and spend about 15 minutes taking this cellophane off. And we're back in the room. So there we go. Eyes of Laura Maas. I really, really love that cover artwork there. Faye Dunaway, who plays a fashion photographer who begins to see murders as they happen. That's all I know from the plot. As you can expect from Indicator, loaded with special features. And that was another reason that I kind of was like really wanting to get it, is because it has an audio commentary with director Irving Kershner. And I love the Empire Strikes Back audio commentary, which is an amalgam of lots of different kind of participants, shall we say. But I love Irving Kershner's section. So I love the way he talks about films, and especially the films that he's made, which is only the one that I've seen, which is Empire Strikes Back. But yeah, I'm intrigued to see what this guy does with just a regular old movie. And there's a whole other bunch of special features. I haven't even opened it and looked at the booklet there. Oh, the booklet was placed in backwards, but we have actually the director there with Faye Dunaway on set. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to this one. Tommy Lee Jones is the actor who I'm a big fan of, and this was much earlier in his career than I've been probably ever familiar with him, actually. You know, I'm more familiar with his stuff in the 90s, 2000s, and so on. So yeah, Eyes of Laura Maas. If you've seen it, let me know. And of course, written by John Carpenter, who I'm a huge fan of. Next up, so this is going to be like kind of a return to form for me. I'm finally re-adding. That doesn't even make sense, because that would require me to have added it in the past and then gotten rid of it and then re-add it, which makes no sense. What am I talking about? It's 2 o'clock in the morning. My brain is addled. This is the only time I could film. And I'll leave all of this in for free. The point I'm trying to make is I'm excited to be adding to my massive cinema collection once again after a fairly dormant period, I think. There have been a few titles I've picked up because they had like the limited edition slipcover, like was it Legend of the Mountain and The Old Dark House, etc. So there was one that I really wanted to get, which was the Spy Number 200, which we'll get to in a few titles' time. But also I'm restarting my Massive Cinema Marathon series, which I'm really amped up about. So I thought I would grab a few more Masters of Cinema titles and add them to my collection. So before this, my Spine number total was 157 in the collection, and I believe now it is at 166. So how am I jumping almost 10 Spine numbers in only 3 titles? Well, the first one is 2 Spine numbers for the price of 1. We have Spine number 170 and 171. 2 films by G.W. Pabst, Westfront 1918 and Kamerad Shaft, which is probably brilliant pronunciation there. So this is a double pack of 2 films from G.W. Pabst, and it used to have a slipcover. So this is the first slipcover I'm missing out on the Masters of Cinema collection. So if anyone out there has this with the slipcover in nice condition and they would like to take pity on me, then please get in touch. But I'm just gonna have to let go of that. I think it's okay. It really doesn't matter. But anytime I saw this in HMV, both in Cardiff or in London, anywhere else, the slipcover was always like bent on the edges and just not pristine. And you know, I'm a wanker about stuff like that, so I never picked it up, and I always just was waiting to find it with a nice slipcover. I was always interested in picking this up, but I had to concede that it was time to just buy it and get it without the slip. So these are 2 films from 1930, 1931. From what I'm understanding, these are war movies, yes. World War I, and I know nothing about them, and I look forward to getting to them in due course. It's one of those things where I just have this brand loyalty for the Masters of Cinema collection, and I know that the films that they put out and release are going to be worthwhile, at least in some small way. So we have alternate subtitle options for Kamerad Shaft, authentic to the film's original presentation in both France and Germany, and an introduction to both films by film scholar and author Jan Christopher Horak, and a 44-page booklet with a new essay and rare archival imagery. So there we go. Another one to pop on the shelf and get to at a later date. This one, however, I'm really excited about because I'm at least borderline familiar with what we're talking about here. And again, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spine numbers for the price of one. £15 this was. And I was just like, I was so excited that this got upgraded from the Masters of Cinema DVD release, which I almost bought a few times because I was really getting into silent films at the time and I really wanted it, but I was waiting for maybe a Blu-ray upgrade, and it happened and I was over the moon. But I felt no need to rush in it because it's nothing limited. There's no box set with it, even though it contains 6 movies. It's just a single case, and it is Lubitsch in Berlin. Fairy tales, melodramas, and sex comedies. 6 films by Ernst Lubitsch, 1918 to 1921. So Lubitsch is a director that I have a weird kind of very brief knowledge of. So I've seen Madame du Barry, which is a 1919 period drama that he made, one of his earlier comedies from the 1910s, and then one of his Hollywood films in The Shop Around the Corner, which I watched in this year's 24-hour movie marathon. So a bit of a weird kind of jumping around of different genres and countries and languages there. And I know that Lubitsch is considered a fantastic director and one of the all-time greats, and I really don't know too much about him or his films in general. And from what I understand, I think it's kind of his Hollywood period that gets a bit more attention. But regardless, these are some of the films he made while in Berlin. Obviously a German director between 1918 and 1921. So we have I Don't Want to Be a Man from 1918, The Doll from 1919, The Oyster Princess from 1919 also, Sumerun from 1920, Anna Boleyn from 1920 also, and then finally The Mountain Cat from 1921. And I have flipped through the booklet of this to kind of get a little bit of an idea of what the discs are swinging open, a little bit of an idea of what kind of films these are really. And I was really excited to see that a couple of these films actually feature Paola Negri, who starred in Madame du Barry, which was a film that I really was not expecting to enjoy, and I particularly loved her performance. So more Paola Negri in Lubitsch's films sounds really cool to me. I think Emil Jannings also appears as Henry the VIII maybe? I'm not too sure. Oh my god, this is where my actual history knowledge is just abysmal. But regardless, I remember reading that it was the Anna Boleyn synopsis I was reading, going, oh, this sounds really good, putting those two actors together again. Anyway, so Lubitsch in Berlin, really looking forward to that one. Probably again not anytime soon, but I know once I get to those films, I'm going to really stick into them and really enjoy, because I'm a huge silent film fan, so I'm already in the bag for that kind of stuff. And then finally, we have Spine number 200, a monumental release for the series. There's been talk recently that the Massive Cinema series might be winding down, that, you know, not many releases are coming every month. Sometimes there's a month and there's no Massive Cinema title. But they've just announced that, you know, that Spine number 202 is in the works, and so I think they're going to stick around. It's just that Eureka, they're kind of shifting, I think, their priorities and their assets, and perhaps, you know, investing in titles that are going to be better selling, perhaps, which is fine by me as long as this Massive Cinema series keeps chugging along for worthy titles. And by all accounts, this is a very worthy title, and it is including a master of cinema who has not been featured in the collection to date, and that is Martin Scorsese, however you say it, and it is The Last Waltz. And this is a really nice set. Again, for the 200th, you know, Spine number, you'd expect something pretty spectacular. You know, the first Spine number, I think, is still one of their best releases in Sunrise. Spine number 50, The Passion of Joan of Arc, is an incredible release. And then Shoah for Spine number 100 is a monumental release. And then 150 was, of course, the Buster Keaton collection, which was, you know, the short films, which was another huge release to kind of upgrade all that stuff to Blu-ray. So I love that they're making every 50 spines like a big deal. And while this is perhaps maybe the least interesting and special and monumental film as far as the every 50 spine kind of milestones. They've certainly given it the deluxe treatment nonetheless. I've not seen the film before, so maybe it's like the greatest music documentary of all time and I just never knew it, but I'm sure this isn't going to be as kind of special as something like you know, The Passion of Joan of Arc or Sunrise or all the Buster Keaton films. But regardless, I'm really excited about this one. I do love music. Don't talk about it much on the channel. You know, movies is my main love, but I really have a love for music that I don't indulge myself in, you know, as much as I should, I think. You know, I think that I neglect music in some ways. I kind of just stick to my favorites and should broaden my horizons more. But by all accounts, a lot of the stuff in this film is probably going to really appeal to me musically. But I'm just, again, going in fairly blind on this one, beyond knowing that it's a rock concert. It says in the back here, the greatest rock concert movie ever made, and maybe the best rock movie, period. So we got Eric Clapton, Bob Dylan, Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, you know, so there's some pretty hefty names here. I have no idea on the context, or what kind of, you know, where this happened, when it happened, why it happened. I'm assuming kind of 70s, in fact, let's have a look, 1978. So yeah, I think there's an audio commentary with Martin Scorsese, which is pretty cool. There's a separate audio commentary as well with a lot of people who played in the film, revisiting The Last Waltz, archival outtakes, stills galleries, trailer and TV spot, and a 100-page booklet. And inside we have, I mean, the booklet itself, just the artwork is really, really nice. I love this film should be played loud on the back. So we got a nice 100-page booklet and then different artwork on the actual case. And also, I believe, yes, you can actually swap out the artwork and flip it around if you want the same artwork that appears on the front of the hard case, you know, outer box itself. So there we go. There's a selection of titles there. Didn't really talk about any of them because I haven't seen any of them except for Infinity War, which I've talked about before, and all I can say is that I love that film. So here we go, The Last Waltz. I look forward to checking it out in due course, and I also look forward to just getting back to the Masters of Cinema collection in general, which I've started to do recently and which I'm really enjoying and getting a kick out of for now. With me, who knows, after I've kind of done a few more episodes of my Masters of Cinema marathon, it might fizzle out again, who knows. But there's been another long update that I wasn't expecting to be very long because it was only 5 titles, so there we go, it's me. I can drag out anything, even this outro. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
He's alright by me. Apart from the fact he throws cans and Carlin into a tree. Yeah, he's really cool. Yeah, he's really cool. But he's not quite as cool as you.